You're live.
Great, thank you very much. Welcome, everybody, to the Economic Development Committee meeting. It's Wednesday, June 26, 2024. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so, well, we have a couple of new members here, or people sitting in today, so I would like us to do an introduction. Can we start down here with Jason? Welcome.
Hi. Is
Can
that
you
it?
introduce yourself?
Okay.
To the public, yeah.
All right.
I think they know you.
Yeah, my name is Jason Brennan. I am been in town for 23 years. I was on the planning board for about 8 years, from 2004 to 2011. Been on the Conservation Commission for about the past 4 years. Professionally, I have either worked for or with municipal government agencies for the last 30 years. I was an employee of the City of Concord in the Planning and Engineering Department, and now I work for a large engineering consulting firm. I'm a senior vice president there who is the asset management and GIS practice leader for the firm, and we pretty much work with utilities, cities, governmental agencies across the United States, helping them improve and manage infrastructure. And then I've helped out completing a lot of these types of projects over the years, economic development studies and stuff like that.
Thank you and welcome.
I'm not being technically as lengthy as Jason was. Jerry Robdye, representing the planning board.
Kim Kleiner, Town Administrator.
Kimberly Queenan, Selectman's Rep.
Mary Colby, Heritage Commission.
Laura Gandia, Zoning Board of Adjustment.
Great. Thank you very much.
Sorry about that. I thought you were asking for an introduction to the new guy, so
No, it's
I didn't know it was roll call.
Oh, no, it was great.
All right.
Thank you. Very informative. I didn't know you had all of that. It's wonderful. All right, so public input we will open no earlier, I would say, than 6:45. So I'm going to leave that open. I'm not going to open it yet. We'll call it no later than that. All right, so business. Let's get to item 1. Approval of the minutes for the May 29th, 2024 meeting. So has everyone had a chance to review them?
Yes.
Does anybody have any corrections or questions?
I do.
Oh yeah, definitely, go ahead.
I mean, so just a couple of things. This is page 3. The sentence is, the focus group was suggested to prioritize residential development to avoid traffic from larger and commercial enterprises like Amazon. I don't think that's accurate. I don't think we said anything about a focus group prioritizing any type of development. So I don't know what was meant by that sentence.
You're on page 3. So
Page 3.
the planning board, and Jeremy was there for that as well. When Amazon was going into Hudson, and I don't really know if it's officially dead yet, but the warning to Litchfield was maybe we don't want that here. So the planning board made some zoning changes to limit the sizes. So I'm not sure if we, let me just go to that.
Yeah, I mean,
section.
I know, I remember the discussion, but that sentence is not reflective of the discussion.
Okay, so would you like to change it?
I mean, we can just remove it. I mean,
Strike it.
strike it. Unless somebody wants to dig in deep of what was actually said during my time, I did not do that. But as it stands written, I don't think that accurately reflects what happened at the minutes, at the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't recall that exact talk at all, quite honestly.
Okay, so do you remember, Marion, about that? Do you want me to,
I don't remember exactly how it was worded. I do remember that we talked about traffic on the various roads and the impact of a larger business.
Mhm.
I don't remember that. I don't remember particularly how it was worded.
I mean, if people are prone to keep it in there, you can just put that, discussions regarding traffic from large commercial enterprises were discussed.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
That
I
works.
like that wording better.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Mary's listening, so.
Do you have any others?
Of course.
I do too, I got more.
All right, so I'm going to page 4. The sentence is, however, the lack of access to some areas and the challenges it presents to hobbies were highlighted. I'm not quite sure what
Right.
hobbies.
I had that one marked.
Okay.
Page 5, paragraph 2, right?
Yep.
So if you just, yeah, so if we go to page 5.
I have it at page 4 on mine.
Oh, sorry. That's paragraph 2?
Yes. I mean, you could just take out 2 hobbies and just say, and challenges it presents were highlighted.
Page 4, what?
Right here, on second, one here, it's the second to last sentence, it has the word hobbies in there, I'm not sure what
I
that
could say,
meant.
take out 2 hobbies out of that sentence
The
completely.
challenges it presents were highlighted.
Yeah,
So strike 2 hobbies.
that would be my suggestion.
Are you all set? Okay.
And then the 4th paragraph is a critical point was the importance of having a clear plan to prevent individual landowners from selling property in ways that might not benefit the town economically. I don't think we would ever
No,
say that.
That's
So
the second one I
No,
have,
no.
because,
I mean, I would never
Right.
want to say anything that would
No.
prevent a landowner from using the property how they
Right.
choose to use it.
so if you wanna build
I
on
think
it,
the whole,
give it
The
a
whole paragraph is
conservation.
the whole paragraph, because the
Yeah.
second sentence is, there was consensus that everything, including the police department and schools, needs to be in place by 2012,
25,
2025.
yeah.
I would,
I'm pretty sure we didn't say that you couldn't build a police station in a year.
Right.
Or a school.
We're trying to, we're trying to get them to get some drawings and quotes, right, for the police station. But, yeah.
But that's
a
not
wrong
everything in
sentence.
place, yeah.
So the prevent the land, that stuck out too, because if you own the land, if you wanna build on it, if you wanna give it conservation, if you wanna, whatever you wanna do, they can do whatever they want, right?
right,
I
I
wouldn't.
don't think this
never.
committee should have a plan to dictate how anyone uses their
No,
property.
not at all, right. Yep. But just back on that point, it is weird, because if you go down to page 6, it's kind of repeated there. Page 6, paragraph 2.
I don't have a page.
Oh, I guess it's item 6, paragraph 2, about the focus group.
Item 6.
Okay, so item 6,
Yeah,
paragraph 2.
focus group, yep. So page 4.
Yeah, so it says the focus group will facilitate discussions, not to reach final decisions, but to understand community sentiment. That's the next one. Yeah, that last sentence, desires and how to persuade landowners to develop accordingly.
I
Oh,
think that was brought up.
Okay, so,
Because we
so
talked about, or it was discussed that people should, that they could try to convince landowners that selling to a business, even if they had to put in like a side road off of 3A so the traffic wouldn't impact coming on and off of 3A, but it would be like off to the side. That was discussed. I don't know if that's the best way to capture it, but that was a big part of the discussion at the end, toward the end of the meeting.
So I hate to put the gentleman on the spot here, but that was what you were saying, right, Jim? Are you Jim saying?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's in what he was saying, so I don't know if, so could I read that sentence again to make sure you said it, since we have you here, right?
Sure.
Because I didn't, like you, Laura, I was like, we wouldn't prevent landowners, and then I saw it repeated again.
I don't think this is necessarily what he was saying. I think this is the back and forth that we had with him. When he spoke
Right.
at the last thing,
Yes.
that was a back and forth. So I don't want to tag him with
Right,
saying that-
exactly, because I don't
Right,
think you said
but I don't think that,
that.
I don't think the minutes is saying that he said it either. I mean, it's under his name, but
Right.
the wording of it is just, prone to shifting towards the discussion that we had during public input with him.
So
you know.
maybe we
Right.
can put end when he stopped, when he's, yeah.
Well,
Because it's
can we-
looking like he said it, right?
Right.
Because it's under,
But can we just finish up here? Because I'm getting.
yes, because again, the reason I went down
Yeah,
is
let's
because it
just
was
to show
said
it,
twice,
right.
and I'm like,
Yeah,
well, maybe
no,
we
yeah.
did say it up there, but yeah. Okay, back to you.
Yep, so, so that, are we gonna strike that whole entire paragraph? A critical point was the importance of having a clear plan. Maybe just taking that out completely? So we're gonna take out those 2
The
sentences. then.
fourth, the 4th paragraph
Yeah.
on page
Yeah.
4.
Yes.
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
mean, I can go back and watch it, but.
I know we want to get plans in place soon, but we didn't say anything about it being complete or anything, that's not at all.
Right.
It's definitely an urgent need, but not the way this is stated.
Yeah.
And then I had, so it was 4, 5, 6, it's just the was should be a were. So the importance of understanding buildable land and the associated economic implications was emphasized, it should be were emphasized.
Where is that?
We're still on. is it
Which paragraph was that?
4, 5, 6.
Oh, okay. Under 6?
Paragraph 6, the importance of understanding buildable land and the associated economic implications. It says was, it should be were. The subject is plural.
Under 6, I don't.
No, it's paragraph 6.
Under what number though?
I'm sorry.
Because I don't
The
know
one
what
we
page
just
we're-
were. Yep, that is
Oh, I see up there, okay.
under 5.
Okay, oh, I see right there, the importance of understanding buildable. Okay, 4.
I'm fine with it, just.
Well, yeah,
Well, no, it's just grammatical.
Yep.
It's just a grammar thing.
Okay.
And yeah, we can talk about your one too.
Yep.
But that's all that I had.
Yeah, and so I was caught off by that one as well. And then when we went down where it says where Jim was, but it looks like they didn't, that might not be what you said. But it was, again, saying persuading landowners, and I'm like, well, maybe we did say it back
No,
on
I
paragraph
definitely
4.
meant something like this based on
Yeah.
our research the town is giving us to help develop things. Obviously, we can't tell anyone what to
No,
build,
no,
right?
no.
But if we, I don't want to say persuade, but if we can build a case for what the town wants on that land, it's a good idea, it kind of makes sense, right? So,
I mean, that was discussed.
correct,
that we would-
absolutely, yeah.
That we
I
would
was wondering quite the same
talk
way
to
it was.
landowners who were thinking of selling their land and so forth, because, yeah.
Did we actually say persuade, or did we?
I don't know how the word, I just remember the discussion because that's when you said the part about, there's land off of 3A that might be reachable through like a side road so it wouldn't impact the rural look of the town and so forth. He might need to replay that and capture that a little better.
Can you do that? Can Matthew do that? If he can just look at this
Yeah.
section, because I want to
Yeah.
end it when you did end it, I don't want you to put, because everyone's
Yeah.
gonna read this, it's public record, and, so we just want to make sure it's in sync. And yeah, and again, the 3A comment was, again, would have to go to the voters if they want, if that was something that,
Right.
that cafe, everyone wanted it there, yeah. But that's the only thing I had, so, thank you.
So do we want to read these again after corrections before we
I think
approve
so.
them?
I think
Because
you
there's
table
several
them.
corrections
Yeah, I
rather
think you
than,
table them.
Do we need a vote for that, or
Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
want to make a motion?
Yeah.
I move that we revisit this at the next meeting, or after he sends us revised copy, and then we vote on it at the next meeting. That's my motion.
Wait,
Oh, yeah, another?
No, I'm just saying, are we gonna work on that paragraph now?
We're gonna see if Matthew can
It's gonna have to rewatch
watch
it.
I
it.
think if you
and
watch it,
see-
yeah.
and kind of see if where it ends, where.
Is Matt doing the minutes?
Yes,
Oh, so he's at JC thing at the end?
yes.
That's-
That's his new company, yeah.
Okay,
I
so
will second the motion
we have a second,
to
do we
table
have,
the minutes till our next meeting after corrections.
all right, do we have any more discussion? Okay, hearing none, the motion, if it'll pass, well, how many, let's have a vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 No, abstain, okay, so it's 4-0-1. Are you, yeah, all right, okay. So, that's done. Item number 2, discuss data results and expectations. So I'm gonna turn this over to you. I'm not sure if you're gonna be talking about the data you collected with Jay, or you wanted to talk about the survey results again,
No, it's the data that was,
that we asked you.
yeah, that
Okay.
you asked for.
Great.
So, I met with Jay and we discussed, Jay Mankara, NRPC, we discussed the number of bullet points that the committee had. You asked for a current GIS map showing what land is buildable and what is wet with acreage. The NRPC GIS team has been assigned that task. Then you asked for new build-out numbers, and Jay agreed that they're included in the land use chapter of the master plan. They're from 2015. They should be updated. We are working with assessing to get that information. But what we did put together in the meantime to kind of give the committee something to work with is this chart that you see, which says it's land use. The first section is land, and the second section is buildings. So you see the parcel count, the number of acres, and how many of those acres are in current use.
Is this one table
It's
8-2?
above that.
Above that, okay.
Yeah, right
A
there.
little bit, yeah.
Thank you.
So if you look at land, that's land only, there's no buildings upon that, that's empty land. So although some of it, and it is wetlands, you see 3 parcels there that are wetlands, then you see the farmland, all the current use land that, so you wouldn't necessarily look at any of that for economic development. And then again, the exempt land, whether it be town-owned or state-owned. So really, once you narrow it down, there's only, so many specific parcels that you can really look at after you take those out of the mix.
Where did you get these numbers from? Was this
These are from our assessing,
from the tax database?
from our assessing database,
all right.
yes. So, it kind of gives the same information out in the same format. But we're working to extract more information for Jay when he returns. So we did that.
So I was there in 2015 when they did this with Jen Sins, which was Jay Mancara's, predecessor.
Yes.
And yeah, whatever algorithm they went off to do that.
They used the assessing database,
Yep.
that we know.
Good.
We do not have the exact data that was provided to Jen. And there's a number of ways that I think the town can improve the assessing database to be able to give us better extractable data. And Jen mentioned that in her, kind of her comments in that chapter, that she had to make some assumptions because of the clear information, the lack of clear information in the assessing database. So I think going forward, we're going to look at how we improve that data that we store.
Okay.
Because it was difficult even to get to this point.
Right.
You kind of have to backtrack. So, but it provides some. I did provide the land use chapter below it. And then that is the map that we discussed at the last meeting. Below that, that's the map that NRPC had put together for us by land use.
Nice.
And so we have wall versions of that. And then the committee had asked for the MS4 area and what parts of the town. So if you look at that map, it's the areas that are shaded in gray.
Where most people live, you mean?
The resi areas.
Except the northern part, well, yeah, it's some open space there, yeah.
Right, and then, it was asked by the committee what we saw for the new permit area, which this data came from, DES. So if you're looking at the next, set of maps, there's two, the current, and on the right is the proposed new permit area. There's just that small area that's in orange will be added
So you're saying the one on the left is the one today,
today.
and the one on the right will be,
The, what they
new
believe
addition?
will be the new permit area.
okay,
That orange piece will be added and a little bit of orange in the
Northern area.
northern area. And then, the last thing that the committee asked that we look at was what Jay thought for the focus groups.
Right.
And Jay suggested that the focus groups be done in the evenings during, by Zoom.
Okay.
He has found that the best participation is when you allow residents to get on, and speak from their homes versus coming out to a municipal building. Which was very interesting, because when we sent out the economic development update, which you asked us to send, to the survey participants, one of the participants responded back and she suggested an app.
Okay.
So a way that we can put out questions to people and they can respond via app. I've seen it done.
It's a
we've
tool called
used it.
Slido, that's pretty good, that we use in these types of things. You put a QR code, ask you 10 questions, hit the button. It's actually like in real time, like they do a game show, and it works out pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah.
That could work.
So in the focus groups, if you have a number of questions that you want to ask, you could actually post it up to Slido, boom, hold your phone up there, instantaneously as they answer, the things are changing. It works out pretty cool.
Okay.
is there a cost with that, the town,
We
or is it
already have
freeware, or,
It's part of
already
our
have it?
WebEx contract.
what is it?
It's part of our WebEx contract.
Oh,
so we
perfect,
have it.
okay,
Slido is? Oh, cool.
nice, that's a great idea.
Plus they can get it for free for a while.
So do you mind if I hold
And-
just for a moment?
Mhm.
For two things. One, I'm gonna just make one statement up here, because I did see it, and there was a little bit of a upset about the word build out. But we were doing this back in 2015. It's in the land use chapter. You never want your town to hit that, because if you build out your town, you can't build anything else, and your tax base is hit. So it's always good to just know what that number is. And it sounds like in the last 8 years, since this last one was done in 2015, there's a lot of changes that have happened, right? So maybe some shuffling, so. All right, so I just wanted to make that, but also I wanted to open the non-public, let me see, open it up to public. So, because I said at 6:45, right, before we deep dive into this. Let me just go back. So I would like to open it up for public input. I know you're, yeah,
Sure, more questions than anything else, but
Yeah.
the minutes that you were just viewing, are those online?
Yes. They're on the website.
I went out there, all I see is the agenda, I don't see any minutes.
I don't think they put the minutes are proposed, they come to the
draft.
members, they're a
Yeah,
draft
yeah.
until we vote on them.
They're on the-
No, they're
They're on the
on.
No, they're not, I
So
didn't
if
see
you
them
go
out there
under
either.
agenda and minutes, that round
The watermark
button.
on it.
And so you're gonna look for the economic development, I wanna make sure they're there, cause they should be there. The Economic Development Committee, and you're not gonna look for this meeting, you're gonna look for the last meeting, May 29th. Cause that's the one the minutes will be attached to. And I do see the button is there for them,
For minutes.
for the minutes.
does it have the watermark draft across it?
It doesn't have the
It doesn't have
watermark, but
every-
it doesn't
the
have a date
Okay.
approved.
All right,
Because I do see minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and then it says download, and the only thing under download is agenda.
Are you,
Check this
so
out,
you're,
hold on.
I see,
There?
she pulled it up.
so. Here, you're here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're in the agenda center.
Where else would you be?
So if you go back to the main page, you right here,
And down below.
Do you have the link as a favorite?
I have the portal for CIP, but I don't have others. I don't know
Okay,
what's
just give me 1 second, I'll just finish this. Are you in there now? You're not in the SIP one? I mean, on the SIP.
No, it's up here. No, I can just hit that star. See, I have that.
I didn't even see it then.
I have this.
I just hit send and I will help you with that. I like a watermark of draft so people know, you know.
Right, this was the
Alright, so then under the computer,
CIP.
hit-
Yeah, it's the one under it.
Oh,
and I did send the
Oh, there's
minutes
Peter.
Oh.
In the email?
I get it
in the
delayed.
email, they were attached to the email.
I was in
I did find that
The school
the
board.
survey respondents liked that, the link
That's where I
to
went.
the video and the
because I
minutes.
forgot.
So,
So
I'll
is
do
this the
that,
thing right
if
here?
that's
Or
okay
this
with
is
the
in-
committee, I'll
What
do
is
it
that?
again.
Do what?
When I sent out the email, from the committee, I attached the video and the draft minutes. And so I think that's a way to keep the survey participants fresh.
No, I'm seeing draft as a watermark on the one in the portal. Is it just too light to show on his phone or something? Are
It
you
might
seeing the
be,
word draft on it, or?
I don't see draft.
yeah, it doesn't say draft on it.
no,
So maybe it's just the phone, just,
it may be just the one on the website.
oh,
I'm looking, this is the one on the website.
okay, I'm just not sure why
Yeah.
they're different, but that's okay. All right, so I'll let you handle that. Out, I hope I didn't get out. Oh man, I might have just gotten out, okay.
It's a little bit more difficult on the phone.
Yeah.
The maps that you mentioned, are those online? How does one see those? Those are out there as well?
Good point. Economic development, so if you're on the website and you go to the page for the Economic Development Committee, is the portal there? It is not.
Just a shortcut for you?
So I will
couldn't find
be,
it.
I will add
Yeah, see, I couldn't.
a
The
link
public's supposed to be able to see
to
it.
the portal.
Okay.
So the committee, when they are
Everybody should
looking
see
at
it.
things, I
So
add
they can follow
everything to
along.
a portal. And we've tried very hard to make sure that the links to all the portals are on the different boards page. It's not, so I'll add
Okay.
it.
Okay.
So,
And I'll let you
Just
know.
tell them.
just other boards, because the public wants to follow along, right? So they need to be able to see it, so it sounds like
EDC
we need that.
DC,
.litchfieldnh.gov.
Takes you right to our portal.
Yep.
You have all the dates above to go wherever meeting you wanna go to.
EDC.
thank you.
EDC what?
EDC, litchfieldnh.gov.
All right, and then the word draft hopefully on those too, right? So the public knows. Yeah.
The only other thing I was gonna say was you've
You've
thrown out some acronyms.
Right.
NRPC, MS4, OEA,
National Regional Planning,
okay.
Commission.
and stormwater. So the MS4 is our stormwater permit.
Okay.
Municipal stormwater. It's an EPA thing that we have to deal with.
I can't get it.
Yeah, I'll put the link to it. It'll be much easier for people.
Okay.
And
So you're prepared when you come in too, right? You have a chance to read them.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So most of the meetings do run that way, so we'll
Okay.
just come up to speed with this one here. So is there anything else you'd like to say, or you really have to read the document to?
Yeah, I have to go back and read it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's,
So you're all set?
for now.
All right, so I will, I guess, close public input then at 7:04. Okay, so I will head on back to you. We just looked at the last maps, Kim, for the MS4 water, stormwater management maps were, right? And then you had what Jay wanted to do for Zoom meetings at night.
That was
The
his
public.
suggestion.
Yeah.
And his suggestion was that the committee chooses from the survey 2 or 3 items that they wanted to do more of a deep dive on. And use those, for the focus group.
Can we combine the WebEx functionality for a meeting with the Slido stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Perfect. That'd be ideal.
I do think it'll be important to have a website component to this, so that you're using something that people can go out and give comment to. In case they cannot make the WebEx
Mm-hmm.
and would like to view the tape or in comment,
Yeah.
send comments later.
Can we add a sub-page to our EDC page? Yeah. Let's do that one.
Yeah, we could,
Add a subcommittee page to our subcommittee.
That would be a good idea, yeah.
yeah, in about, well, by the end of August, we'll have a tool we can use, but
Yeah, so the website, the new one just rolled out, so they're still,
yeah.
most of the stuff, is there. Yeah, so we just need them time to catch up. So do you want to dive into the main themes of the survey? Is that what you want to do with Jay? Do we want to keep going with this focus group? We still need to, or do you want to wait for Jay? I mean, I have been to some of these ones at night, and they really do work well.
Did Jay have any other comments, I guess?
Yeah, right here. Is that the, where it says discussion? Yep, here you go. So the first one was conduct the Zoom meetings at night. The second was, we should start to find some questions based around 3 or so of the main themes that came out of the survey.
Yeah.
Yeah? So it's really vague, so we're in our discussion phase now, right?
Right.
I'm trying to brainstorm here a little bit. And you, in the past, have had the survey up on the screen. So can this also be linked to the site as well? Because they probably need to see that too, right? The results.
Yes,
yeah.
the results to the survey are linked to the economic development page.
I have the survey, so. you
Oh,
can
okay,
go ahead.
perfect. So we're gonna look at the themes
I
in
think
that.
if we, it's gonna be hard to pick.
To do what? I don't know if we have to have them show tonight. There's a link, right? Just for our discussion here. Want to look at this?
No, I can't see it because my
Oh, okay.
glasses and my, this reads the notes.
Want to share with me? Are we looking at the survey?
Oh, I have
I would say where.
What do you want to do? What?
I mean, I think we need to flush out
no, I don't have
the
that.
question that arose at the past couple Board of Selectmen meetings. I mean, they've answered they're in favor of economic development,
Yeah.
you know, but that's a percentage of them.
Like 67%, right? So 67% of the town roughly want economic development, right?
Is it,
We added up ones who definitely did and ones who
right,
wanted some. Right. But we can go back to that survey, let's take a look.
But do we need to know where?
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
my three.
Right?
Well, I had my three top focus
Okay.
for the focusing was, I know they said they wanted economic development, but my whole thing is why. So my three questions was, why economic development, where, and what? It's kind of like how.
Why, where,
And what, like
What?
what? So, I mean, I know everybody said they wanted economic development, but I'm still, want to make sure that we have a good idea of the reasoning behind it. Do they want it because they want their taxes to be lowered? Or do they want it because they want to change the feel of the town? Or do they want it because they just want a couple more restaurants? So I think delving into why would be, I think, some really valuable information. And then once we have that, that would, I think, could segue to, well, where in town would you want to see that? And show them the maps, and that would guide any type of long-range planning for zoning and planning. And then what do you want to see in those areas?
Yeah, and I think Kim Kay brought that up a little bit to kind of, as part of the focus group, to see what people, when they said economic development, what is their vision of that? Like what, you know, some people might be seeing, you know, businesses like Small Tube, and some people might be seeing, you know, a pizza shop. So, you know, we need to know what people are thinking of, yeah.
And how were they defining economic development when they answered it?
Right,
But I think it means somebody else could think something completely
Right.
different. I mean, you could have.
right, and
somebody-
I mean, the survey had to be broad, you know, to get some numbers in, so we got that. Now we need to fine tune it a bit.
You need to focus at the focus group.
Focus, at a focus group, oh, wow, imagine.
Imagine focusing. And some people just might want the service closer by.
Right,
But it'd be
too.
good to know.
Just to go to Market Baskets, 20 minutes out, 20 minutes back.
Right.
But doesn't mean I want a grocery store here, but some do, right?
Right,
So
some people
Some
might.
just want it closer.
So I got a question.
Sure.
Newbie here. So I watch most of these meetings, and I know that this committee had a one-year shelf life. It was imposed for 1 year, and then it got a one-year extension. I haven't been to these meetings before, but, you know, what's the end goal? Is there a documented end goal? Do we have to get something done by the end of the year? Seeing it's got a 2-year shelf life, I don't know if you want to go a third year, but I would assume at the end of the second year, we either have to have some sort of economic development strategy, you know, a little white paper, a map with dots on it, recommendations for zoning changes. You know, so like, is there an end goal here? Are there things that we've got to get done by the end of the year? And then work toward those things?
We're definitely working towards those things, but we're trying to have it from the voice of what the town wants. I don't think there's a hard stop to it, but we should, because warrant articles and all of that come out, right? But I think it's gonna be how good the focus groups are, right? But just because we recommend something, again, you know, the board will decide and the voters will decide, right? But yes, and I have the same question too, because it was originally to be, the SIP plan was in place for a couple of years now. And it really was to be to justify the tax, the impact fees, right? We were looking at it from that point of view when this group started. And then the survey came back, and I think it gave us results that they do want economic development, so now it's more of a deeper dive into that. So the questions you asked, I think, yes, we have to answer those and come up with a format of what the town and the focus groups came back with and what we also find as well.
So do you want to go back to the Board of Selectmen and get more of a end game idea, or do you want us to develop what we want to develop and go
I
down
think-
that road?
No, I think we have a charge by the Board of Selectmen, and I think it's pretty clear. I would suggest, and Kim and I can kind of summarize the last Board of Selectmen meeting. There was discussion. There's a number of different pieces that the board is trying to put together. So there's many things that we're working on. And we're going to try to take this data to create, in essence, some information that we can give to the planning board and the zoning board. It may give suggestions for zoning changes, may not. May give suggestions for amendments to be put through at town meeting. It's certainly gonna give the Board of Selectmen direction on things that they wanna see, that the townspeople wanna see accomplished. But there's kind of another piece out there, there's some direction that the Board of Selectmen have given, legal counsel and I direction to approach the state and open discussions with the state about land. So we need to know if the state's amenable to some discussion on land, what we wanna do with it, right? We need to know that. So legal and I have already preliminary
And
reached
the- and
out
the-
today.
we have to have an honest discussion with the state. Do they have plans for that land too, right?
That's right.
So we have to get feedback from
So
them.
all I'm hearing is mostly just like a rough roadmap is
Yeah.
all I'm really hearing?
But not saying it won't be fine tuned, but keep going, it's almost organic, just as it's going, we'll see the direction it was going. But
Well-
it's not gonna linger on forever. And we do have warrant article deadlines, right? But, yeah.
And this is Litchfield, so you can look at the map and you know that there are a finite number of areas where industrial and commercial land or businesses could exist unless you want to change the zoning to expand commercial areas, like for example, up Route 3A. So there's a finite number of things that we're dealing with. So it's not like we're dealing with the city of Miami, who's got land all over the place, or Boston or something like that. So I'm just kind of curious if A, you've got an end goal in mind, and what's that end goal, and when's it gotta be finished by? And then, B, have we thrown the map on the table yet? We've heard all these things here, but in past economic development activities that I've been involved with, you're putting it out to focus groups, you're throwing a map on the table, we're sticking dots on the map of where people would like certain things in certain areas, and you can even use little web technologies and
Right.
use their finger
That's
on
where
there.
we're going.
And
That's
it
why we
kind of
got the
gets to
maps.
what
Yeah.
Laura was talking about, is what do you consider economic development and where? So, sorry for the newbie question.
Nope,
but
no,
that's
it's
your
kinda
next
like,
step.
That is, that's
So
why
we
the
just got
maps,
the NRPC map uploaded now.
right, that's
Kim.
for today.
So that's literally our next step. Not in there, go back to the portal.
Yeah.
The latest map, the
Actually,
one on the
yes.
wall in the town hall,
The-
is that current? The
That's
one that we
zoning?
old.
The zoning
Zoning
one,
map?
the one on the map on the wall is old, right? The one we use at the planning board.
It's fairly accurate, but this NRPC
So we
one
need
is
this one
much
up on the
better.
wall before
I'll
we.
get a new
so-
map
This should be
put
So,
up.
yeah, so
Yeah,
Jason,
actually.
the answer is
I'll
yes.
get a new map put up, cause I have a new one in my
Okay, yeah.
office.
But-
I mean,
Right.
definitely.
Yeah, we definitely need a map,
add it up.
so again, what do people
Yeah.
want? And then the question is, where do they want it? And then we can start to say, well, it's
There you go.
currently
So
residential,
I'd
should it be
like to,
this?
I'd like to see it, I think it's difficult. I mean, I have a table version of that map.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. But I think it's difficult to look at the town as a whole and
Right.
say, okay, where? I find it easier to work with the tax maps,
Okay.
right? So the tax maps are put into different zones. And I just received digital versions of the tax maps. So I'm gonna link those to the websites so that residents can see the tax maps online. And what we can do is we can take those and then identify the parcels and what they are, right? What
Right.
land use.
Yep.
And what's vacant, right? Because you're only looking at vacant land.
That'd make it much more pointed and much faster for us too.
Right, and then you can almost do it by different areas
Yeah.
of the town.
Could you and Jay attend to do that?
I can set up a
Yeah,
custom
we're doing
GIS to
it.
do all this stuff.
I can, okay.
I mean, that's
we
what
can
Sarah
make it
does at
available to
GIS.
everybody.
That's what Sarah does at
Okay.
NRPC.
If we could overlay
Because
that.
NRPC does our tax maps.
But that has to go to the public, so they can see
Mhm.
what is there available, what do they
Right.
want, will it fit there, if not, where else would you want it? And that opens a discussion for zoning, right?
So maybe
Maybe.
just another newbie question,
Yeah.
but, when I look at this survey, the big four, where, what type of businesses should Litchfield seek to attract? I mean, it's a coffee shop, it's a farmer's market, it's a microbrewery, it's restaurants and cafes. So what brings in the most revenue for the town? Are they all in the same category, or does it fit into the tax map like you were saying, or?
Excellent
Some light
question.
manufacturing, there's
So-
more lists.
I'm glad that he brought that up.
Here comes the accountant.
So, I've been, as a result of our last meeting, right, you asked me to look at the different commercial entities that we have here. And I did, and I started to look at the base rates that were used in their assessments. And so I've developed a list of questions that I have for our assessors.
Okay.
Those base rates are generally set on a number of factors. And so until I have those questions back, I can't better answer your.
Right, so what she's trying to get to here is, she's trying to show what the cost of the town would be, or what the revenue of the
Right.
town would be based on commercial, industrial, residential layouts.
Because your taxes
working
are
on that
based
right
on your
now.
assessments.
Right.
And I took two similar types of businesses, and the assessments are very different. Some of that is based on what we call these base rates. And so I've asked the assessors that determine that, what factors they're putting in these, because then that will we'll be better able to answer the question in what type of business will generate more revenue, if that is their goal, right? We don't really know that is the residents' goal.
Well, when another part of
thinking.
the survey talked about controlling taxes, that was like one of the highest
Right.
in that category.
So that's an interesting statement. For the Conservation Commission, we actually looked at about 20 quote-unquote cost for service studies across New Hampshire. A lot of municipalities have done this. And I can send this out to the group, but for example, Wyndham did one recently, and for every dollar received in taxes from a residential property, $1.06 went out in services. For $1 coming in, $1.06 going out. When you get to commercial, industrial, for every dollar coming in taxes, only about 50 cents is going out. When you look at residential, it actually started breaking it out as well. Your higher end, according to these studies, were related to single-family residents and three-family condos. Those are above $1. And then on some studies that we read, when you start getting into 2-bedroom apartments and condos and 1-bedroom apartments and condos, it kind of starts to flip to neutral and actually, making out on the deal. But there you're around the dollar range, maybe a little bit above, a little bit below. But where you start making your money is really commercial and industrial. And then to Laura's point is that, is that what people want?
So yeah, so that's what she's working on right now for us.
And there's a number of different studies out there. I mean, there's, some of the UNH business school and economists say if you're looking at planning future growth, sometimes you need to be a little bit more careful on the use of the cost of services study as your basis. Look at multiple different types of studies to form whatever your suggestions will be or your recommendations will be. So the problem with having a 1-year charge is it kind of took a year to get the committee together
Oh, yeah.
and up and running and that first survey.
It was 6 months till we even started anything.
Yeah, so, and there's a number of of things that you should investigate. And I would say that the town is a little challenged with the data that we have. Especially like when it comes to the assessments and we're definitely challenged with our databases.
And we also saw some towns gave real tax incentives for businesses to move in, and they won't see that return on investment for 5 years. They're losing money for a while, right? So, yeah, that's a lot that we have to look at here. Yeah. But Jason's right, it's finite land, finite residents, what do they want? What land's available, it's just showing different options,
Right, I mean,
and then let people decide.
Can I just comment on Jason's question? When I look at what we should be doing, we have our, 5 charges, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they all kind of hinge on each other. So, at the end of the day, I would envision, and that's just my vision, that we would do the survey, we get the results, then we make the recommendation based on the results, how to modify, if at all, the master plan. And from there, we tell if it's to promote economic development or not, they want us to take a look at our regulatory functions when people go to develop land. So we need to talk about that and then advocate for money if we need to make changes to our regulations and streamline them. So at the end of the day, I would think it would be some type of final document outlining the results of the survey and then recommendations. What they're charging us to do is to make development easier or not, as far as looking at our regulations, what we have, what we need to modify, if our zoning's restrictive, if it needs to be more restrictive, if we need more regulations, less. So that's kind of how I see the end game.
I agree with you. So, it's just because Jason's come on board here, so we really started with, let's read our master plans, We're really in the data collection phase at this point, right? We have a lot of it coming in, and now we're realizing some of our data is old, so we're gonna be updating that, so just so we can make the best decisions that we can. And I agree with you, and we always thought it may end up in zoning changes, we don't know, but, yeah. Because again, it's what the landowners are also the stakeholders, the banks, right? It's what they want too. And they have done this in the past, 30 so years ago, and there really was a collaboration, when everyone was in the room at some point. So, not sure yet.
but I think what Jay and I said at the very beginning of this is there's education that has to happen before you can accurately find out what your residents want. Because see, here we find ourselves asking, did the residents know in that survey what economic development was? Right? Because the results are kind of skewed of that.
Yeah.
So we didn't do that education piece. We wanted to get the survey out there, and I think we picked the right time to get the survey out there. That was a remarkable participation rate. So being at the elections,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, I think drilling down into motivations is gonna be huge for us now, because the one thing I can draw from our survey now is, we would like to pay less taxes, we can all agree on that, but why do they want that, right? So do they want it for convenience, do they want it for changing the town, why do they actually want this to happen?
Oops, sorry.
We can try to develop a plan that makes that
Right.
happen in a meaningful manner, so.
And whether businesses come here or not, whether we build more houses or not, we've got to ask the question of how to keep the taxes as low as possible, other than voting yes on everything, right? Because people want it, then we do it, right? But at the end of the day, it's about the money, right? And trying to have that balance, and obviously conservation and zoning, whatever, everybody, balance, right? Or what people want. And I don't know, Jason obviously does his homework, but you are right, Laura. So Jason, if you do go, and you might have already done it, to the Economic Development Committee webpage, it does have the 5 bullets of our mandate there.
Yep.
And you are right, Laura, they do dovetail. We're kind of on 1.5 to two at
Yeah,
this
we'll
point?
have one or two.
Yeah, we finished
But I-
one,
But I think once
and we're
we,
doing two. yeah.
once we finish two, then the other ones.
Right.
I mean, those are less intensive as
Yeah.
far as community involvement. I think that's something the board can handle on their own as far as what we can do to the regulations. I think that's why we have different people on this board from different committees to help with those questions.
You found it? And I'm glad you have a current map, because we've been working with an older one for the longest time, so that's good. And I'm glad we're getting current statistics on population, on acreage, right? So, yeah, so they can make a better decision. Okay. All right. So do we want to have go back to Jay's question of the top 3 things that popped out of here? Let me go back to the second bullet. Planning board, that's later, right? Advance select board, yeah. Okay, so we're still there. We still have to do data gathering from the community at this point. So we're really, are we focusing on the focus groups of the next steps, right? Of putting them together. All right. Let me go back to that page. Let me go back to what Jay had suggested. So Peter Ames wanted Jay Mankara to kind of drive some of these questions since he had been through it. So Jay should be back next month as well. All right, I'm just trying to get to Jay's page. So your tabs open here. I guess we're just having a discussion. So why don't we do this? We have to come up with, we see themes in the data, right? So we have to now, as a group, come up with some kind of questions we want the focus group to work on. And I think what you just suggested is wonderful, because what is their definition of economic development? Which they did fill out the survey, and we have numeric data, but they also had an open line question where you could write in stuff as well. And they did come up with other things that aren't on there. Light manufacturing was there as well. You know, there were other things that appeared. Let me go back to our portal and get that. There it is.
Another
All right.
newbie question.
We love that.
Have you identified the focus groups?
That's what we're
Like
doing.
what they are?
Yeah, we're doing that now.
Like right now?
We have a potential right here. He came to the meeting last time. There were 2.
Okay.
And so that's James, right?
Yes.
And you had a good idea of reaching out to other groups, whether if other people were in committees, Lions Club, or, you know, whatever, just to get more
I did
people.
pitch to the Knights of Columbus.
Knights of Columbus,
And
good.
I did send out an email to the council, and
Yeah,
as you can see,
Yeah.
we have trouble getting guys to show up at a meeting.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel you.
It's always a struggle.
That's why they're online.
Exactly. And then we also have Connie Jackson on this team as well, so she also trying to do that. All right, well, let's start. Let me go back to Laura's. I think Laura said the who, what, when, and where, right?
I said why.
What, where, and
Why economic development, I mean, I would stop the focus group off delving into lots of angles for economic development, like, what is it? What does it mean to you? Why do you want it? What are the reasons for wanting it? And those, I mean, you can really have a lot of discussion
Right.
on that.
So what does economic development mean to you? Where do you see, or where
No,
would
no,
you want
well, I
that to
think,
happen?
well, the first question would be just the why about the economic development. And from the why, you
Yep.
can ask probably, 5 or 6 questions just under the why. And then I think once you get a good handle on what people think about economic development and the reasons why they may want it, why they don't want it, then you can get into, the where would you want to see it would be the second, and then what would you like to see there?
Where is gonna be difficult, I think, in a Zoom, right?
I think unless they can see, not the snap, but a map, and just kind of, if we segment the map off to
Yeah.
section A, B, C, D,
We
E, F,
probably have a
G.
screen share going on
Yeah.
to share that map.
Right,
You can make an app. You can just put a dot on it.
There we go, even better.
Where,
Put a dot on the map of where they'd like it, or,
Yeah, you can have different colors on the side, residential, zoning, residential, business, boom, boom, boom.
we have to be careful with maps, and I'm not saying we can't use yours either, but if Jay's putting out maps and I We just gotta be careful, that's all. I don't care what's standard, but we just have to be careful, that's all. The users will get overloaded, like, what
How
is that
does
color on
slide
this, and what is that color on that?
Work with Zoom, if you're on a Zoom. Do they have to use a QR code? Or is
You
it
can
more like
either
a Kahoot?
click a link, or you can hold your phone up and QR code, and it'll bring up the survey.
So what if do we have a survey, John, a service similar to like Kahoot? You know,
That's what Slido does. It's similar to what Slido does.
okay, so they could be on a Zoom and go
A WebEx
to,
call.
WebEx.
or WebEx, yeah,
If they
WebEx.
join WebEx natively, Slido is an option, but they can scan that same QR code and use their phone or their home computer to answer questions or take the surveys.
Okay, so similar.
We should be able to upload whatever map we want to upload to the system to go ahead and work off of. So we can get that one that has the available land on it, we can get that developed,
Mm-hmm,
and upload that map,
mm-hmm.
that'd probably be our best bet by far.
So, I'm just thinking of the ease.
It'll be
One
tough
thing
on-
you
it'll be
wanna
tough
think
on a
about
phone.
is ease of use for our residents, and if they're on their laptop to do the WebEx, then they've gotta have a phone, right?
It's a ping on the side, so when it's Slido active, it actually can take over the screen to answer questions.
Right.
Okay.
It depends. We can try to do a trial, so.
Yeah, see how it works with then having the map. We can have the map come up when the questions to the side.
Yeah, I would suggest you have segments of the map.
Yeah.
You put like, say, A, B, C, D, and then say, how would you like it to be? You know, residential would be B, and C would be whatever. To kind of make it easier for, it's an ABC question versus trying to move things around,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Do you
Agreed.
want them to RSVP? Because then you could send them the map, you know, they can download it and expand it or whatever as well. I don't know. I'm just
Yeah, I
throwing ideas
mean-
out.
I think you're right. I think it's so much information that if you can give them more information, if they sign up for the focus groups, you give them as much information as you can ahead of time so they can kind of review it. and look at it.
When it comes to blah, blah,
yeah, you
blah,
can
what's
create
important to
a
you.
website, create
I want
a town
accurate
page, or a
data.
town, you know, a town page, whatever you want to call it,
Send.
town hall kind of thing, and just say, here's the materials we're gonna be covering, and here's the list of the meeting, and you want to participate in online voting.
And whenever it ends, though, it saves all.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
So
Spreadsheet.
it's all in one place.
But
Right.
you just can't
I like
overload
it.
the user, some of them aren't technically
Right.
savvy.
Yeah, you
right?
have to be careful about,
Well, would this meeting have an option for people, I mean, if
They
we're doing a
should come.
focus group, could they come?
I would hope
Because
so.
some people aren't tech savvy at all.
Right.
Well, yeah, someone has to run the meeting to begin with, so you just do it here or at the town hall. To run,
I suggest-
John wants to be, yeah.
here,
Yeah, here's,
Okay. so, yeah.
Laura, the things that you mentioned, do you think that would be better intended for another survey or for a specific focus group? And do you think if we had a focus group, we would have enough like critical mass?
No, I don't think we're gonna get enough critical mass, and no, I don't think it's good for another survey, because I think these questions are more conversational. So just asking why, like if somebody was saying, well, I want economic development because of whatever, but you need to extrapolate from that. So
I
it
get
needs
it.
to be more conversationalist.
Yeah.
And that's why we need the focus group. So doing another survey, we're gonna run into the same thing, but what do
You're
they
gonna-
need?
All right, cool.
And how many people are we gonna get at the focus group? We can probably.
Got a major election coming up.
But we do have all the email addresses of those who said they wanted to participate, right? So you can
Yeah,
send the invite out that
300.
way, right?
Yeah,
But you're right, these are open-ended questions, it's not a, you know,
And that's what
summing up
focus
the
groups
quantity.
are.
But some questions
Yeah.
could be, if they're gonna use that Slido, right,
Yeah.
that you talked about, if they wanna do that.
It looks pretty slick to me.
right, and I think one thing is trying to bring out maybe the percent of the population that you don't generally hear from, right, that aren't generally participating,
So
and
people,
that's difficult.
people.
Anyway, yeah, that's hard because they
Well,
normally don't participate, so what do
Yeah.
we have to offer them to get them to participate?
Donuts.
Pizza. A raffle.
A tax break. $5 off your taxes, fill out the form. Can't do that.
I'll probably quite charge that without
I
tax.
can't
Standing
do
room
that.
only.
So
I
some
think
people
if you marketed it, you could fill it, you could come close to filling this room.
with donuts,
There's something.
the tax break.
Well, look at the CERT training that we had, at one time we had like 20, 23
people.
people. I
15 people.
I think you could get
I would hope so.
enough.
I hope so. You don't want
So the northern
Up the
part of
bag.
town, not northern,
I wouldn't mind
southern
that.
part of town, like when they go out to 102, some of the kids that live there in Albuquerque go through the woods to get to the 7-Eleven, right? They can get to some of the stuff that people in other parts of town can't get to, right? So you're gonna get different results from different parts of town, right? So hopefully we get some representation that way as well.
You got this.
Because if you are on Pilgrim Drive, you can get to anything you want, right? But in the middle of the town, it's tough.
Laura, do you think, because you did like this stuff in Londonderry, right?
I didn't do per se, but I'm very familiar with this.
Do you think like the focus group would have to be an ongoing thing? Or do you think that if you got a group together that you could actually answer a lot of those questions in like 1 or 2 meetings?
I think we can do it in 1 or 2 meetings. And I think having it ongoing, if you're gonna burn people out, people aren't gonna want
Yep.
that. And if you look at our charge, we don't wanna have it. I mean, our charge is finite, so we know what we need to do. So I would think 2, ideally 1,
Yeah,
2 at the most would be my suggestion.
need a good meeting facilitator.
I think that they felt Jay.
Nomination here.
would be-
Yeah. And some of these meetings that I've been to on Vision 2030, 2040, right, they're not a 2-hour meeting, right? They really are engaged. They want to be engaged, and they want their input heard, right? Some of these can be 4 hours. It depends. Jay seemed to
There
think,
there are companies that just do this, like, I mean,
yeah,
when,
we talked about that too,
when
right?
we did our, yeah.
Yeah, maybe just hire
The
someone.
city
who
did
was
their
around
master
or
plan,
something.
it was a company that came in. But the interesting piece was the comment that we got back from the resident on an app. I really like that idea of, could we put some questions out there, you know, on an app and receive feedback, you know, you leave one question, group of questions, 2 or 3 questions, out on the app, people respond, you're gathering data without really doing anything, it's just generates, other than promoting it.
I guess my question would be, what additional data do we want to gather from the residents that could be obtained through questions in a survey? Like, I think we have what we need. What other questions would we be asking that?
Well, if we had the maps out there, if we could load the maps to the website and they could look at the maps, they could answer questions.
Right, I think what could happen would be, again, you know, without answering that question number 1 and really getting a handle on that, all the other responses that we get are still gonna hinge on the first question, why? You know what I mean? And I think having that dialogue is gonna be the way that we'll be able to really delve into people's responses.
So you're encouraging face-to-face? I would think.
I do.
I agree. And we have to be careful on who comes in the room, because not everybody's on social media, right? We've got to get a good cross-section of the town, right? And get it out different ways. So invite as many as possible.
Well, I think that we've put together, in preparation for this, a list. So we have all the contacts for, the different developments, the over 55s, we have all the, so we've worked hard to put together a list. We can use that.
Yeah, and I think that's great. I think getting a diverse group of people in here
That's
is very important. Like getting people from the 55 and older communities.
And we have what's up, and we have what's not up, and we have the parent group, you know what I mean? Just
Right, the parent group from the schools, yeah.
The school, its advocate.
School, yeah.
But again, like, even like those things, if you look at the number, Jason, how many people are on Litchfield? What's up? Numbers?
6,000.
6,000, okay. But there's still a lot of people that I think are not on that page, you
Right,
know?
yeah.
And,
A lot of older people.
yeah, you're not
Lot of
gonna
older-
capture
older.
them through social media. I think the way you would capture them is if you have those contact informations for like the, you know, president of each of the 55 and older association, I would volunteer to call and be like, hey, we're doing this focus group, you know, this is when it's at, and I think that goes a long way.
Yeah, reach out.
I think that
Outreach,
personal
yeah.
contact
Yeah.
is, in my opinion, huge.
I
Yeah.
agree.
So you think the first question's why?
That's my, the group can decide, that's my recommendation.
I like it.
I do as well.
That was kind of what I felt too, that you have to get what their vision is of what, you know, what they
What are they trying to
what
accomplish?
they were answering and what in their mind they were seeing by that answer, you know.
So I think the discussion, you can be like, you know, why economic development, and then have, you know, ask people, well, how would you define economic development? Jim, how would you define it? John, how would you? And get, you know, because I think right with that, you're gonna see some different responses. And then, you know, why do you want it? Do you want it for taxes? Well, if if it didn't have any effect on your taxes, would you still want it? You know what I mean? Those questions to kind of, so why do you really want it?
And some people hear economic development, they just equate it with lower taxes, and they really may not have any vision of what they could, you know, like what the town could attract, or what, they haven't thought it through, they're thinking about the bottom line of the few, you know, less taxes. They're not thinking about the impact for traffic or for
Right.
this and that. So, you know, they haven't really thought it through, they just answered that question and they saw, you know, a bottom line figure, but that's what we need to establish, we need to
Exactly.
find that out.
You know, so is it taxes? Is it, like Kim had made a great point, convenience? Do people
Mhm,
think that it's
right.
too much to travel to Londonderry for Market Basket, or, you know, Hannaford's and Hudson?
Right.
You know, is it really convenience? And, you know, you go through all of that, and then you get into, well, we do have economic development. How do you think that's gonna affect the agricultural feel of the town that we have here? And what do you think about that? And then people would be like, oh, well, maybe I don't want it. And, you know, and get into the effects of economic development depending on what people are saying. And then you get all that really good information. And you really stop and you make people think. Well, I thought I wanted economic development, now maybe I don't. Well, I didn't want it, but now maybe I do. You know, maybe I don't want a small town feel for Litchfield. I didn't move here, you know, I was hoping that it would grow and that we would end up being something different. I don't know what people will say. But you could have them, you know, you could flip them, and that's where you know where you're getting good discussion, because now you're getting people to really think.
Right.
Okay. I like it. And that might pose other questions we ask next.
Right, and I think from there, that's where you get to the where and then the what.
But again, whatever they say, we want them to feel we're listening, and we are crunching that data, right? And the themes that come out of the open-ended questions, which is difficult to tell, you know, because it takes time, but that's fine. It's their town.
Some people are gonna have they're gonna be afraid of economic development. They're thinking that, well, as somebody said in here, I don't want the place turned into strip malls like Merrimack. You know? And they hear economic development and it's like, no, we don't want it.
Right. And then, so we were almost toying with changing the name to Economic Development Inquiry Committee, you know, kind of. Because people make an assumption.
Yes,
This,
Yeah.
you want build out. No,
Yeah.
that's not true, you know.
right.
The voters may want that, I don't think so, but. And it's hard because, you know, we have 8,500 people in town, maybe forget the juniors, you know, the one under 18 and under, but say we have, how many voters do we have? 5,000, 6,000? We have a lot of population that we could reach out to, but not everybody's going to do it. It's gonna be a very small subset, and that's gonna drive some of the stuff that goes to the other boards, right? So, there's that balance we have to worry about as too, because not everybody participates, right? So, okay, we had 15 very vocal people and driving a policy, so that's a lot to look at.
And another thought about getting diverse, if Peter is school board rep, like reaching out to the school and getting some seniors as part of maybe a senior project or extra credit to come in and participate. Because it'd be nice to see what that segment of the population, the younger kids who, you know, are you gonna stay here? You know, if it changed, would you leave, would you not leave? Be interesting to see,
Yeah,
you know,
that's
their
great.
perspective as well. And I mean, if Peter could be the contact to reach out to the superintendent or whoever would help him facilitate that, I think that would be helpful.
I think you might get more people here, Laura, than we think, and it might have to be broken out, because once you start getting above a dozen people, you know,
Okay.
people go quiet.
Yeah, but that's great, because then what you can do is, let's just say we got 50 people,
Yeah.
woohoo! Like,
Yeah.
put, like, do, like, you know, like groups, and then you pick a spokesperson from each of the groups,
Yeah,
and you kind of do it like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we do, we break them up.
I mean, the more the merrier, and I
Break it out.
think you just, you know, you just do a breakout instead,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
type of discussion. You give 5 minutes, we'll ask the question, they can each have 5 minutes, and then one spokesperson will be like, well, this is what my group thinks, and you kind of go around like that.
John, we can do breakout rooms in WebEx, correct?
Yeah, that's what the NRPC
Yeah.
does.
That's what,
And some people, you're right,
That's what we
Jason,
did.
they don't wanna talk in front of everybody when they go into little groups, then they won't be quiet, right?
Yeah.
And that's good too.
Well, that's a benefit of the technology side of the fence, because they might, a lot of folks will take information in but not want to participate, but will be willing to fill out a little form at the end that you might be able to get the answer to the questions that you're posing.
And some of
But
those,
I do agree with Laura significantly, because I do a lot of this stuff at work, and talking to them one-on-one, you get the feel of what's going on, and that makes a difference.
and some of the quiet people come up with some good ideas, right? They're just afraid to speak up, you know?
Well, and I think that also accomplishes the goal of, you know, spreading the word and educating the people. You know, people who come and maybe don't talk a lot, but they're learning something, you know, they
Right.
might take it on to somebody else and spread the word or.
Brought up a good question though, Laura, too. Why would you come here? Because we're here because we're on boards, but before I became, you know, interested in anything about the town, I went on my merry way. You would have to really do something for me to walk into a meeting I know nothing about. So we need to maybe think about that a little.
And that's right, the phone call, like if you call like the president of each of the 55 and older and be like, hey, and somebody goes and knocks on your door and be like, oh, I got a phone call from the town, they're really interested in knowing what you think.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
We want to hear from you.
right.
I'm gonna come now, you know?
Yeah, because I'm not even sure, maybe they have a board at their communities already that
Most of them
they
do,
could pick
yeah.
a, you know, a representative. Maybe somebody be willing to come from each of them.
It'd be fantastic.
Sorry, if you're trying to get that information, like Laura was talking about, I personally think it would be better if you could get in person, because I think it's even more difficult to speak over Zoom.
Yeah, I think the number one method of engagement for us to encourage
Sitting right here.
is coming in.
What, any thoughts on that?
I was just talking, going on talking face
Well,
to face.
Yeah, Laura's had 5 pointed questions, you know, why, what, where, when, and so on.
Yeah.
You know, trying to gain that information
We're
from
gonna
the
go
public.
Zoom.
Better over Zoom
It's-
or
it's
better in
recorded.
person?
I like the one-on-one, you know, because you can, you know, go back and forth. You know, they're feeling like they're participating, feel like you're interested in them, like a lot of the things we've always said. Zoom, you can hide behind, right? You can just sit there and listen, you won't participate. Other people will be very vocal on Zoom. I've seen it both ways, you know. You'd have to maybe actually ask these people pointedly, you know, just, hey, Tom, what do you think? You know, and go through each member or each participant in the Zoom and try to pull it out of them. You
But
could-
I don't
I think
think it's
the
an
slide
either
deal-
or though. I don't.
No, but I think the Sladio might resolve some of that, because now they can answer anonymously,
Right.
and no one even sees your answer.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So I think we have to develop really, really good questions that can go on a Sladio questionnaire. So it can't be give us a paragraph of your response, we can't do that. That can be an open discussion, no problem at all.
Right.
But as far as getting people to, just give us feedback, we need some really, really good questions, so.
And I've
I
had,
still don't think it's an either or. I
think
think you
it's
can
both?
do both.
I think.
We can do both,
I
exactly.
think you
Because I've
have
had good
both,
luck
and-
with Zoom.
because different people take to different mediums.
Mhm.
And I think you have a variety, you have a set of your population that Monday through Friday is not in town.
And some people
They're
don't drive at night.
traveling back and forth to their jobs or their, you
They don't
know,
drive at night.
that's,
Right.
or they're
Oh, yeah.
traveling.
Right.
And it's easier for those people to do Zoom.
Have you had any more responses with our list of people who would volunteer to go on a focus group at all? As far as the email list you have?
I haven't asked a specific question.
Not yet?
No,
Okay.
you tell me what to ask and I will ask it.
Just see if anyone wants to actually do it, because we only have one lovely man here. So it's a very, very focused group right there. Okay? Very focused.
It's the gym.
It's all on you, no, just, okay.
But I
What
think
is, what is it more?
Well, we
when
appreciate
we ask people to come, and I mean, I appreciate Jim being here, and it's awesome, but
Absolutely.
if they're coming to a focus group, we need to be focused.
Right.
We need to be organized, we need to be spot on, we need to make them feel like they left,
Be ready.
providing input, gaining something, and not just kind of like, oh my goodness, that was a waste of my 2 hours.
And
That-
consistent. So if you're having breakout sessions, they're consistent. I mean, you know, they,
Because some people champion a certain question and they go off and
Right.
form a group and they run with it, right? And they implement something.
yes.
And also, because
You are trying to obtain information, you are not trying to lead information.
and if you do the dual one, we're gathering data different ways. It can support what we're trying to bring over to the Board of Selectmen later, right? You'll get different groups. It can't hurt to try both.
Let's do it. Okay.
Well, may I suggest we try to do that in 2 meetings? Next meeting is us focusing in on what are we gonna talk about to plan for the meeting in 2 meetings?
Might have it
With focus-
organized.
And we need,
Exactly,
we need
so-
Jay here for
Ready.
We
that.
can quite literally just plan
Yeah.
our focus group meetings next
Yeah.
month
Yep.
for the month after, and that's
So
all.
You still want Jay's feedback,
Oh, absolutely.
because he runs,
Jay,
this is what he does.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
So Jay was gonna come back and look at his calendar, and I honestly believe we may need another meeting before July 31st, and have it be at a time when Jay can be here.
That's fine.
Why do you say that?
Even
Just to
before
schedule.
a planning board.
Well, same
What
day.
if we met for like an hour before the planning board? Jay's coming for the planning board,
Yeah.
and if we just met for an
And
hour.
at 6, and then planning board at 7. We good?
We have to check his schedule now.
We good? We can try. 6 is not too bad.
Check his schedule, if he can do it,
Yeah.
because I know he has a lot of meetings.
Well, he's
I know it's a
gonna
great
check.
idea, just make sure
I was
he
just thinking,
can do that.
it's been very difficult for him to get here on a Wednesday
What's the
night.
planning
And planning board
night?
is Tuesday nights.
Mhm.
He's already coming to Litchfield,
Yep.
so most likely.
Is there any conflict?
Do you have a date for that?
You have a conflict, you're
I
at the
do.
planning board, what about Jason, what are your meetings? Do you have a conflict on Tuesdays? Are you-
I don't know.
They'll be on
I don't-
conservation,
I-
right? Do they meet Tuesdays?
Thursday.
Generally,
Okay.
no, but I travel a lot for work, so you never know.
Zoning is when?
Third
Mondays,
Monday.
yeah.
Heritage, I don't know.
Thursday.
Thursday. Do we have a date for the next planning board?
The next planning board's Tuesday. But
I don't think he has
But
enough
we
time.
can't
He's
be
still on,
ready for
he's still
that.
on
Yeah.
vacation.
Yeah, yeah.
I was thinking maybe the Tuesday after that, which,
So you're trying to plan for,
I
to
can't
be-
do the
roll
ninth.
this out
I can't do
August-ish? We have to look at
well,
it.
if
be
we're
here
gonna.
six-
roll
Well,
it out-
we have to work with Jay.
Yeah, if we're rolling it out in August, we definitely need to meet with Jay.
And-
I
So
could
you're
do the
thinking
16th
July
of July.
16th, then maybe meet with Jay before the meeting.
If
So,
people can
no,
get here,
you
you at
have,
work?
don't you have planning,
Yeah, but
you have planning the second and the
I could
16th,
be
yeah.
here the 16th, but I
Yes.
can't be here
I think
the
the second
9th.
Alright.
is definite, that's not gonna work for anybody probably, but the 16th should work out pretty good.
Yeah,
What time are you thinking?
6.
if we do 6, just an hour, even just to very pointedly, you know,
Do we
I mean,
focus
let
on-
him know before what we're looking for so that he can kind of prepare.
Right.
How is that
And
bridge? Doesn't he come over that bridge that's under construction?
I come over the bridge.
Is it-
that's
but is
under
it a big backup,
construction.
like a-
No.
If he knows it's coming,
Oh.
he might have to leave early. to give
But
him
again,
that.
he has other meetings, he's,
And if he can just point us in the right direction with that 1 hour he has with us for our next meeting.
again, I can't speak for his schedule, I just know he's, so.
Yeah, and he lives right around the corner from me, so I've been coming the other way. And it's a longer distance because you go up the highway to come down, but it's like 20 minutes.
So I'm just trying to recap the next steps. We're gonna write down your questions, right, get those ready, yeah? Did you write them down? I did as well. Do you wanna take a look at them? Do we wanna just, before we leave tonight, just get them 100% the way we want?
Or I can just do an email.
If you can do that, email them the questions,
Okay.
and then you're gonna follow up on a potential
Yeah.
meeting on what's the
On
planning
the
board date?
16th
July 16th, hopefully
Tuesday,
6 or
the
7 o'clock.
16th.
6 PM.
at 6, and we'll just do it right in that
Yeah,
room.
that's-
and
Oh, yeah.
That's.
We'll get it kicked out at 7.
Tentative.
Try to
for
have,
January.
yeah,
They'll let you see.
And,
try to get the map set up with the available land,
Yeah,
all the overlay
yeah.
on it by the end of July meeting for us. I'll be for Jay, I think Jay's gonna.
I can do that.
Well, Jay's
Do that?
working on it, Jay's tax map guy is working on it.
Oh, if he's doing that, I mean, that's not a big deal to do. I can get the GIS data from NRPC. They already have a download of the avatar data. On the avatar data, they have land use codes, so that's, we can almost do that on the fly.
Okay, so, and then
I'll
split
set
it
that up
out,
for July.
because he's, if they're
Yeah,
doing
some of it
it
was over
based
my
on
head too,
the
sorry.
existing tax maps that they have now.
is he already, is he expected to be done with this soon?
Yeah,
So why don't we just let him finish that then, right? Because he's already started it, right?
yeah, well, Jay gave the
Okay.
direction right
And I
before he
appreciate
left.
the help, I just don't wanna have two different, I don't know what he's doing for an algorithm there.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know,
Colors
I
and
mean, I
all.
just, Jay and I just spoke about what needed
Okay.
to be, and he said GIS needed to
But
have a
it
heads up.
sounds like if
and-
it's easy to do when we have to reach out. You can
Should
maybe,
we?
maybe.
If
you know,
they're gonna do it, let them do it, but if they don't have time,
Right.
it's just not a heavy lift.
Okay, perfect to know. We can talk to him about that.
If we can overlay available land
Yep.
and how it's zoned,
Yep.
that'd make our job really easy. Because you can only develop what you can develop, and that's it. So,
And then you're gonna have zoning.
Unless you redevelop.
You're
The
gonna
only
have
way-
master plan
hey, we're not getting there
chapters.
yet.
And when we're done, you're gonna have master plan chapters to put the new numbers in.
Correct, exactly, yeah.
So what else is for
And
next?
like Jen said in the
Oh, so we
old
need the
master
tax map.
plan, the only way you can really tell available land
Current.
by the avatar data
Yep,
is by making the assumption that it's the land with no structure.
Mm,
Because there's nothing in the avatar data that says it's available.
okay.
What do you mean by
right,
no?
but we would, any piece of, the simple way to do it is any piece of property that does not have a building value,
Correct.
would,
That's what we
you would
did.
assume would be vacant.
Yes, that's what we did.
Yep.
But she,
Then remove all wetlands
she also
and
did
everything
something else.
Do that.
She
Yeah, it
made
gets a little tougher.
We
but
took,
yeah.
we
Hold
took
on.
current
Do
use
the best
out,
that we
we
can
took,
do.
we took current use out, and we took exempt municipal and exempt state. Because that's not, municipal land's not available.
The other thing she did
And
was make
state
sure the
land
land was
is-
not water, it was
Yes.
continuous, it was continuous buildable, like an acre, acre and a half, right?
Yes.
I'm not sure the actual cutoff she used for acreage, but if you have a piece of land there that's swamp,
Yeah.
we can't count that, right? So she did some of that, and I think
She
she
did.
did that outside
She
of
did.
whatever data she pulled.
Yes, that's why she said she made some assumptions.
Okay,
It's, the avatar data is not that,
but it's meant for something else.
right. It works great for what it's meant for.
So is that our, do we have any more next steps? And I appreciate Jason can jump in too, and we'll talk with Jay and see what they want to do. So you're gonna write up the questions, Laura, right? July 16th, 6 PM, 10,
Yeah.
tentative.
I'm gonna meet with
And that, and you're checking with Jay.
Yeah,
The tax map that you currently posted here, you're talking about the nice,
I'm doing
Which
a
one?
couple things, I'm posting the tax maps that they sent me
Mhm.
yesterday, which are just, they're the brand new tax maps.
when you
But
say,
they're the current, I'm gonna post those to the website so that people can look at those.
which website? This one?
I don't even
Or
know if
planning?
people ever, our website,
Just
our
economic
town
development.
website.
The town
She's also
website.
gonna add the link to the portal to the town, say for,
And I'm gonna add the
BBC.
portal.
yep. It's already done?
Oh, thank you,
Thank
John.
you.
It's already done.
And what about the one in the town hall later?
And
Put it on
the
there.
zoning map in the
The
select, selectmen's in the meeting room,
Meeting,
right?
Yeah,
Okay,
And our next meeting is gonna be July 31st, next official meeting.
unless
Right.
we,
Yes.
yeah. Okay.
Is there any other, so Jay wanted us to focus on things from the survey, but we're not there yet. We will probably be soon,
I
next
think
time.
Laura's questions
Oh,
are.
I think they're great.
I think
So-
they're based
Yeah,
on.
yeah, no,
I think
So-
he said go after
Yeah.
themes in
Right.
here.
What's that?
He said to go after themes and then maybe start asking questions. I think you kind of
No, I think
pre-questions,
that's,
so
no,
and I
I
like
think
it.
she's got it right
I
there.
mean, I think that's-
No, I like what you did. It wasn't like, oh, these
Yeah.
are the top three businesses,
Yeah.
let's just focus on that, you know? It was, I like the question, I think they were great.
I think we're getting down to the nitty gritty.
Yep.
Pulling it out.
Took us how much to get here? 9 months?
Well, maybe.
And we meet, and that's what happens when you meet once a month,
Yeah.
right?
And just so I understand, I'm meeting with Jay on the 16th. The purpose of that is to have him review our questions and give us additional guidance on how the focus group should be run.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's our 1 hour goal.
okay, so we all know that.
Okay.
So that way we can come on the 31st and nail everything down 100% for our next
All the
month's,
loose ends.
hopefully, focus group meeting.
Right.
And that's maybe what, setting up dates and times and
Yeah.
how we're going to
31st.
contact
Yeah.
people.
And we have a
Yeah.
plan.
That's the plan.
And we're into what month at that point? July?
It'll be August.
August.
Well, it'll be
August
August
and
for the
August
focus
is
group.
tough.
Yeah, I can't imagine us having a focus group until the end, the earliest would be the end of August.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
if you
might be
want
my
that.
vacation
Well, we
week.
talked about that before,
And-
about vacations.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I worry
That we,
about.
no, but we did talk about making it later, no, I think we
Oh,
talked
okay.
about that.
Make it
didn't
one
we?
later.
The
About
focus
having
group
actual
probably
focus
won't
groups that we wouldn't be able to have, it'd be difficult in the
Right.
summer because of people's schedules and so forth.
All the
But we can still look at
gotcha.
the maps.
Okay, that's pretty fast.
Mhm, yeah.
And the state's gonna
What's the
hopefully
green
get back to us on what
stick?
they
Exempt
intend to
stuff
do,
or-
right?
Yeah.
Right.
So sometimes whether you take that off the
Yeah.
table or not, you know,
Mhm.
kind of thing.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Slick.
All right, so let me go back to the agenda, see if there's
Making
anything.
buildable lots.
Jeff
Let's see.
Limbaugh.
So that's good, we got those 5 items? July 31st, right? All right, so let me go back to item 3, communications survey respondents. So are you trying to talk about who's the focus group itself? We had 2 people that did show last week, right?
Oh, no, I
One-
put the communication that I sent, so that number 3 was what do you want sent out next?
To who?
To the survey respondents.
Oh, well, we're not gonna do
Well,
that yet.
Well, you may want to put the bug in the area that there's going to be a focus group coming up late August. I mean, I don't know what the.
Like, I think,
July, August, September. right?
Jeremy, you said, find out who's interested.
Yeah, definitely get an email out,
I like
get
that.
some feedback back and see who wants to come here, who
Yeah.
wants to go to a WebEx meeting. Like,
Yeah,
we need people to show to this thing, otherwise it's gonna be useless. But we have pretty much 2 months from now, that's plenty of time for people to get some stuff planned out.
I can, cause, yeah,
And some people travel for work, so they might need a Zoom meeting too, right?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't, I'm not against the meetings at
But
all.
also, end of August, school's getting ready to start again soon too, so they should hopefully be back from vacation by that point in time too.
Well,
Right.
I
I'm going on
think
vacation
we should
now.
probably get a good handle on when we think we should have the focus group.
Right.
Because what I envision,
ask
I
them
think it
their-
would be a good
their
idea for
availability.
Kim to stop putting bugs in people's ears about when it's going to be.
Right.
But she doesn't know that until we say, are we gonna do in August? I think doing it in August, my own personal opinion is, I would say the second week in September. Because then everybody's back in school,
Yes.
people are more calm, vacations are over.
I mean, I'm just thinking about when we had children in school.
Yeah, exactly.
You
want it
wanted me to do
right?
something at the end of August, it probably wasn't happening.
Right, and that's what I'm saying, I think the second week in September, for me, would be where,
My life is no easier in September, but it doesn't make a difference to me. It's fine.
If mine is easier.
but I'm thinking of like
August starts and, oh god,
people
oh,
who want to do it. But so I think if the committee agrees, sometime middle of September, then Kim, if you could stop putting, just like friendly emails, like, oh, don't forget, we haven't picked a date yet, but sometime in the middle of September, we're gonna be doing our focus group, and
Yeah.
kind of just keep that message going to them from now until we get a date, I think would be helpful.
And we want to hear from you, right? Tell them we want to hear from
Yes,
you.
yes.
Thanks so much for doing the survey, we so appreciate you wanting to participate in the focus group. We're thinking of having a focus group in September, your input, incredibly valuable, and
Okay, I think we just hit item 4, focus group planning. Right?
Good
Yeah.
job, good job.
All right, next meeting, July 31st, everybody's okay there, we've done our next agenda items. Does anybody else have any else they want to ask or comment on, or for you, Jim? Because you still thinking of sticking with us, or? Yeah?
I'm trying my best.
Awesome,
Thank you.
we do appreciate
Thank
it. Anybody else?
All
All
good.
right, I'll
Thank you,
entertain a
Laura.
motion if anybody, I'll entertain a motion if anybody would like to adjourn the
I'll make
meeting.
a motion to adjourn this week's meeting, this month's meeting, sorry.
Yeah, with the month, there's a second.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
I
Aye.
No opposed. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it 6?
You're almost done?
5.
I am done.
You're voting, right? No, 5.
There
Okay,
they are right there.
Yeah.
great, 500. All
Thank you.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you too, John, for everything you do.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Kim.
Thank you, we really do appreciate you being here.
I know,
It's
It
important.
must be discouraging.